All right, we are on. Sweet. Well, welcome to episode 41 of the Current Gen podcast. My name's Tim, here with Derek and Dan. Good evening. Wow, we got Cyberpunk and Smash Brothers in your backgrounds right now. This is awesome.
Yeah, there's some smashing going on in my image, right through the chest.
There is. If
That
you're not watching
Italian.
this, if you're not watching the video version, you can go over to YouTube and see Dan's background consists of Sephiroth impaling the beloved Mario. I mean,
Tim, you didn't say
dare-
Sephiroth correctly.
okay, tell me how to say it.
Sephiroth.
I'm not gonna say that.
No,
I'm definitely not gonna say that. Yeah.
All right.
Then
fair
there's
enough.
Derek with Keanu and nameless Cyberpunk
V.
character V.
Whoa.
V.
I know Kung Fu.
Hey, same V from Devil May Cry 5. What?
Yeah.
Which is
exact
the same
same.
from V for Vendetta.
Dude, it's all connected.
Yes. There's a lighthouse everywhere.
It's all connected. Yeah,
There's always a lighthouse.
that's right. Well, listen, this has been a interesting couple of days for me, so I just want to take a moment to rant. We don't do a lot of rants on our show unless we ask Derek to talk about peas and that kind of thing, and monitors and stuff. But I had a horrible experience with CDkeys. I've only purchased like 3 things from them, and I had pre-ordered Cyberpunk 2077 from them months ago because it was on sale. I got it for like $45. I was like,
Nice.
why would I not do this? PC version, $15 cheaper. I'm doing it. So, and they even said there was all these notes that would come through that would say you'll get your key. I forget how many hours, but you'll get your key before launch so you can download and preload the game to play. So it was all good. I was very excited about that. So I finally, the day before the game comes out, I go to check my order screen to see if my code has populated, and an image populates. And I'm not kidding you. It looks like someone in 1995 took a picture of a code while moving, while it
Nice.
was raining. I mean, it was impossible to read. I even brought my wife over, like, you got to help me with this code. I can't read this thing. We tried it from different angles. We tried it on different devices. It was so blurry and impossible to read. I could, out of the, let's just say there were 16 characters. I forget how many. I think 6 of them were obvious, and the rest of them were blurry. It was like, is that a Q or an O or a 0? Oh, turns out it was a D. Like, you couldn't tell.
It's actually a picture of a dinosaur.
It was really bad. So it took me about 30, maybe 35 guesses. So basically, here's what I did. I just started keeping a list. I wrote down all the possibilities of what it is, and I just input them one at a time into the client to try to redeem it. Here's the problem, though. I'm all for trying to keep bots out of stuff. I've already complained about bots when it comes to pre-ordering consoles, so I hope this doesn't sound too contradictory, but I'm all for keeping bots out, but this CAPTCHA service they had to redeem this code was so obnoxious. It's the kind where it shows you a grid of 9 pictures, and then you have to, it's like click all the pictures with a bus. So you click all the pictures with a bus, they slowly fade away, and then more of them fade up in their place, and maybe 2 of them have a bus. So they slowly fade, and it keeps doing that until I got rid of all the buses, and then I hit verify, and it said, please try again. Click all the pictures with bicycles. So I had to do like 3 of those every time I input one code attempt. So this took me way longer than it should.
Did you watch the new John Mulaney stand-up? The
Yes.
one where he talks about the Trump being the horse loose in the hospital, and then he does the joke about literally what you just went through. Like,
Yes,
I can't even
exactly.
repeat it because there's so much to it, but like it's
Yeah.
basically that. It's like, really, so the machines can't get through this ridiculous technology. Like, it's supposed
Dude,
to
that
stop.
is exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
I was like, who is this protecting? It's just ticking me off, a customer of yours, and I'm a new customer, and so
Yeah.
you want to win me over to want to keep shopping with you, and I don't ever want to buy anything from CDkeys again. Like, I'd rather spend the extra $15 and have the game actually available to install when I want it to. Like, 'cause I was
I
pumped.
mean,
for
did
this
they
game.
offer anything? Like any
No, their
compensation?
customer service has given me 0 responses. The only response I got back was that I'm in their queue and someone will get to me within 24 to 48 hours.
Liars.
They told me.
Derek, you use them often. Have you ever gotten some weird screenshot? Like, how does CDkeys actually work? Like, what's the deal?
Well, they just scratch off a code and take a picture.
Okay.
Most
So do they
times,
buy them in
sometimes-
bulk or something? Is that what it is? Or
I mean, I think they've got to be a little
shady?
shady,
It sounds
but I don't
shady.
know because to me, I don't know how you get that many codes.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they do it, and I haven't done the research. I actually pre-ordered Cyberpunk through them as well. I got it for $41 because I pre-ordered it back in 2019.
Jeez.
Holy cow.
But my code was clear as day. But it was a scratch off. Like you could tell they scratched it off and then just took a picture of it. So obviously Tim just got an idiot who wasn't even paying attention.
Yeah,
Some
it looked like
drunk guy.
someone was in a hurry and was just like picture. Like that's kind of what it looked like. And one of them was taken in motion.
You know what it was, Tim? It was
Yeah.
the cops just chasing after him because of the shady business.
He was still running away while taking pictures of more codes.
They're like, we know you stole those. Get back here, and he's taking the picture real quick.
Oh man, so that was frustrating. I don't chalk that up to that's not a platform related thing. That's 100% Tim trying to save money.
Sure.
And I think anyone, that sounds like Derek did too, would have bought it on a cheaper platform, especially if it's going to be a platform where you want to play it, like PC. And as we all know now, PC is the place to play this thing.
For sure.
But anyway, all that to say, that was very disappointing. But I know the way I am when it comes to a sale. If something's much cheaper, I'll probably try again. That was just a very disappointing experience.
I've only had like one issue with them that I can think of, and it was my fault. Like I bought Doom Eternal, but I didn't buy a US code. I bought some foreign code, and it kept giving me an error, and I'm like, why? And then I went back to my order history, and I was like, oh crap. So they just gave me a refund, and then I bought a US code. Like it was real fast, though.
There you go. Yeah, thankfully the last one I tried was there was one character that looked exactly like a B. It was clearly a flat line on the left side, but I finally was like, this could be an 8. Like maybe it's so blurry that this 8 looks like it's got a totally flat left-hand side, and that was the last character that I had wrong was the 8. So got it. I just downloaded it this evening, so I don't have any impressions to share with listeners on this one just yet, but I'm sure we'll, just like with Assassin's Creed and other big games, we'll be talking about it for a couple episodes probably as we play it a little bit more. But anyway, all that being said, complaining out of the way, I just had to get that off my chest. It was
rant over.
Rant, yeah, end rant. But have you guys been able to play this, and how much, and what are you thinking about the latest from CD Projekt Red?
So I have it on PC and Xbox Series X. I decided to get it on Series X because I've been console gaming more. So I was kind of hoping it would look good and run good. I have played on both. So I played over an hour on Series X, and I played it says time-wise 3 hours on PC, but I know I let it sit, so I'm probably a little over 2 hours. My impressions are so far, I like the game. I do. I don't love it, but I'm only early on. There's a lot of things I don't like. Even on PC, like it's definitely looks way better. Like I've actually switched it around, and I won't bore our listeners too much with the monitor talk, but I've literally tried it on all 3 of my monitors: 1080p, 1440p, and 4K, because I wanted to get the best looking picture combined with I was hoping to get the best like frames per second. I've made the decision I'm going to stick with 4K, because this game has, for those who don't know, on PC this has DLSS. That's huge for somebody like me who doesn't have a 30 series card. I have a RTX 2070. So in order to run this game at 4K, I need DLSS activated. So I'm running it right now at high settings, DLSS activated on quality, meaning it makes the picture look prettier. It doesn't focus on performance. And then, yeah, it's on 4K. So it's running pretty good. I've got it where it runs at about 35 frames per second. Of course, if I wanted to play it at 60, I can make some adjustments. But for this game, I'm focusing more on visuals than I am on frames per second. It looks good, but overall, I don't think this game is that pretty of a game, even on PC. I do think it has a lot of tech, and it's got a lot of things going on. Oh, I should mention, I did play with ray tracing, but I didn't see the value of it, so I turned it off to get my frames per second, and so I could play it in 4K. But overall, I think it looks okay. I think it plays good for an RPG. It is all the way, I'll say this, it's 100% RPG. It's got a Mass Effect vibe to it for me. Even like the shooting and stuff like that. I know Mass Effect games aren't first-person shooters, but like just the feeling of it. It's a basically cover-based for the most part, cover-based shooter. So you could compare it to Deus Ex as well, but and it you have your tech powers or tech abilities, all that stuff. So it's got that Deus Ex / Mass Effect vibe, which anybody who's ever listened to our show knows those are two of my favorite franchises.
Yeah, Deus Ex is great. Does it have a stealth element like Deus Ex?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. In fact, there's like a part in the game in the beginning where you can accept this chip from your sidekick, and you can do the tutorials, and they walk you through everything. So there's stealth aspect to it. It's just play it your way. That's it. You level up your way, play it your way. There's a heck of a lot going on with this. I will say this before we move on to Dan. Because I started 2 playthroughs, I did choose to do 2 different stories. Meaning, on Xbox, I chose Nomad. On PC, I chose Suit. On Xbox, I chose a male character. I did not mess with his genitalia. And
we'll discuss that.
Hey, random question about that real quick.
Yeah.
Is that like a screen you have to go through, or do you have to dig in?
That's the create a character, Tim.
No, I understand that, but like,
I think I somehow skipped it.
Because I just need to know that, because do I need to not start this game when there's kids around?
So basically, so if you choose, so basically when you're customizing your character, you're shirtless and pantless, but you have underwear on. So if you switch to female, you're going to see her breasts. In order to change the genitalia, you drop down to the genitalia section, I think the default it says off because it just shows the underwear. But when you switch it from off to, the other 2 parts, then it shows, a little more than just the underwear. So
right, I gotcha.
Yeah, I would advise not doing.
I would never play this game in front of your kids because the first hour there's tons of boobs.
Oh yeah, boobs, f-bombs. It's a mature game. It's very mature.
Yeah. So I just
sounds like the opposite of mature.
So
I know.
On PC, I did Suit and I did female character.
Corpo specifically.
Yeah. So I did Suit and I did a female. That I did mess with her genitalia because I gotta have them clean shaved.
Sure, obviously.
But overall, I wanted to point out that the way the game starts for each one, obviously there's a third option as well. Street Smart, Street Kid. Yeah.
Street Smarts.
But those 2, they start off different, like vastly different.
Yeah,
like even one of the side characters or one of your, like, I don't want to say crew members. I guess he is. I hope this isn't considered a spoiler. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But like for the Suit, he's your friend. He's like your buddy. You work with him all the time. In Nomad, he's just a stranger. Like you don't know. You don't have a relationship with him.
He's also a partner as Street Kid, just so you know.
Yeah. So you actually meet up with him for a job. So it's pretty cool because when I'm playing as a Suit, he's talking to me like my buddy. Like we have a history together. We've worked together, blah, blah, blah. With Nomad, he's just getting to know you. Like he doesn't know anything about you except that we got to get this job done. After that, the second mission was the same for both gameplays.
Don't you start out in the like deserty outskirts of Night City as the Nomad, or?
Yeah,
but are you in
quickly within the first hour you're in Night City.
Oh, okay. All right, gotcha.
And then that's when you go into the main mission that is the same for both my playthroughs that I was doing. Which I won't, spoil, but that's where you kind of get into the main story. But overall, like I said, my impressions are I think this is going to be a great game. I don't know if it will be Witcher 3 level. I don't know. I'll have to see if I really get invested in the characters in the world right now. No, but you got to remember going back to The Witcher 3, going years back. I'm sure when I first started it, I was a little jarred to like, what am I doing? What are these systems? Like, there's some things that I'm like, I have no idea what this does.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of learning for me to do. There's a lot of systems, but so far everything feels good. It looks pretty good. I'm not saying it's ugly. It's not ugly on PC. On Xbox Series X without the Series X upgrade, so I'm really just playing basically an Xbox One version of the game. It's not ugly, but it's not pretty. It does look like, I think for me, my issue is like the coloring, like the lighting and the coloring of the game is very like bland. It's not very vibrant, even though they have a lot of vibrant colors they're using, but the way you actually see them isn't very vibrant. Everything looks kind of muddied down, especially on consoles. And then
I've heard it compared to like different styles of paints you can get, whether it's like the matte paint versus sheen, or I forget the different names, but you know what I'm talking about when you paint something.
Yeah.
Like a glossy sheen to it.
Yeah.
I've heard that it feels like that when you jump from different consoles outside of the other issues, is kind of flat or matte versus a sheen or a glossy.
PC, I'm telling you, it's way better looking.
I'm very excited.
Since you're only going to experience it on PC, you're just going to get the better version, but it's so much cleaner. The coloring, the lighting, everything's just better. Cool. And then obviously you can dictate what your frames per second are going to be. Like when I was running it on the 1440p monitor, and Tim and I have the same 1440p monitor, I think I put everything at ultra with DLSS and was running at like 40 to 50 frames per second.
Oh, sweet. That'll be great. Now, dude, for anyone listening who hasn't heard this, by the way, DLSS is God's gift to PC gamers who can't afford to upgrade every little thing that comes out. It is so fantastic. It's a great way to get like, peak performance. I wouldn't
be able to run this game on anything but like low settings.
Well, it's the same thing with Control. I've got Control running at just unbelievable specs because of DLSS. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yep. So my impressions are good so far. Obviously, I'll keep talking about it. I also liked Assassin's Creed when I first started it, and that game can go suck it.
That's harsh.
All right, nice. That's good, though. I'm looking forward to firing this one up probably as soon as we're done here. Since it's late, the kids are in bed, I'll get this one started and see how mature/immature this whole thing really is.
Yes.
Dan, what are you thinking about this so far? Are you playing on your PS5?
Yeah. Yeah, on my PS5, obviously, it doesn't have the upgrade. I don't have too much to say yet, just because I'm about where Derek is. Actually, side tangent, meant to ask earlier. I bought a new mask that I was curious if I can get your guys' opinion on.
Oh, please. Yeah, let's see this.
I was just very curious because I just don't know how I feel about it yet. But, you know, let me just go grab it. Hold on. Yeah.
All right. I'm very excited. Wait. With bated breath. The Waterman is coming to the door, Derek. Remember that? The old Waterman?
Yeah. What is Freitas doing?
He's going to get a mask. He wants to show us a mask. Oh, there it is.
So, I'm just trying to be extra safe, you know, while saving the community.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Well, I mean, you look better from
COVID. So, and
I have a feeling, and if you're just listening, you got to go over to YouTube to see what he looks like. But I have a feeling that might not stop all the COVID droplets from making its way through.
I don't know, man. I got bit by a radioactive spider. I'm pretty strong, so.
That is true. Yeah, that is very true. Well, good luck battling the COVID and looking cool at the same time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was going to see if I could actually keep this on, but I don't know if it sounds muffled, by the way.
No, I can actually hear you surprisingly clearly.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah. My sister and her now fiance actually got this for me for my birthday a few months ago.
It actually does look really cool.
It's actually pretty legit. It's got the zipper in the back. It's actually pretty snug, and it's got the eyes that are more like the Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Have you taken time to hang upside down and have your wife pull the mask down a little bit to kiss you upside down yet? Have you tried it?
Well, you know, Tim, I don't kiss and tell. You know.
Fair enough.
But you know, I'm so busy saving the world or saving Plymouth.
Yeah,
because that's where I live. So.
Right. You keep the world small. I get it.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So Cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm.
No, I am enjoying it. There's a lot of exposition in the beginning. There's a lot going on. There's not too much gameplay. And when I was listening to Blood from Easy Allies, he was mentioning how he was many hours in, and there's not like a ton of like kind of action going on. There's just kind of a lot of experiencing characters and kind of being in the in Night City. There's just a lot going on in Night City, even though the game, because it's having the issues, it's not running super well. So like for instance, like pedestrians will like bump into each other, and it just doesn't seem like the AI is quite where it should be.
Gotcha.
But there is just in general a lot going on. Like it is super cool to kind of just look up and just see all like the skyscrapers in the cities and like an overpass that's kind of like wedging in between buildings, and like it just seems very alive. But again, the AI just kind of needs to be there, and maybe just actually having more pedestrians. I think Clayton actually mentioned, he's like, why isn't there more pedestrians on the sidewalks just walking around? It seems a little barren. So I don't know if they don't have kind of more going on because they know the game's a little broken still. So
all right.
Yeah,
but I've heard people compare the combat to Wolfenstein in some ways. Is that at all fair when you're going full action? Does that feel like Wolfenstein at all?
Not even close.
Okay.
Well, like, so it depends, right? Like what you're doing, because like, so I got in this firefight. I did this little, like the first side quest I did. There was like a pachinko rink going on, or pachinko ring going on that I needed to. This cop kind of like that I bumped into was like, hey, can you go like take down this woman running this illegal pachinko ring? And so I was taking cover, like Derek said, because it is cover based. And I started hacking this one person. So what's fun about the hacking is like there's different things you can do with the hacking. First, you got to actually infiltrate their system, because apparently in the future everyone just has computer chips in their brain, and then you can hack them. So, and you can do various things that I guess kind of hinders what they're capable of doing.
Starset has been warning us about this, people.
True.
So like before you even start shooting a person or meleeing them, you can kind of like take them down, like kind of leave them at a disadvantage before you even start doing any of that. Or just things in the environment, like if there's a machine that you can hack and like kind of make it explode to like distract them, things like that, which I'm sure in Deus Ex that's pretty common, but to be honest, I've not played a lot of Deus Ex, so but there's
a great game, by the way.
Yeah,
actually, both Human Revolution and Mankind Divided both still hold up fantastically. I would recommend both those games. Well, cool. It sounds like this game is decent. I am excited to give it a whirl. I was not expecting it to be my instant game of the year. I feel like I've already got a couple of those this year, but I was expecting it to be, a really fun, I shouldn't say the word spinoff, a really fun new experience from CDPR, who I love because of the Witcher series. But they don't make perfect games. I think The Witcher 3 is really close to a perfect game. It's amazing. But they've got games that have issues, of course. But I'm looking forward to this one. They're good storytellers and good characters.
Well, and they're really good about like patching their stuff. Like they already did another patch for PC and PS4.
Yeah, that's what I wanted
today.
To add.
Literally a day after it launched, they had another patch.
That's what I wanted to end off at, because like I don't know if it's just everyone's just so freaking tense because this year has just been garbage and just extra like let's complain even more than we normally complain, but like I get it, like it sucks. The game, you buy $60 and it has these issues. That's very annoying. I understand that, but it is this just massive game. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of systems. There's just a lot. So yeah, it's going to have issues. And you know what? Like, so did Witcher 3, but everyone loved Witcher 3. And then time kept going, and they kept adding.
Witcher 3 improved a lot over the years.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I think people forget, and you can say, "Oh, we're making excuses or not," but there's a couple of legitimate arguments here. First of all, The Witcher 3 when it came out was good, but it was a little broken. It was definitely buggy and janky, and they had to patch it a lot to fix that. And as we all know, if you play The Witcher 3 right now, even on console, it's a way better version of what it was at launch. So that's
I can agree with that, even as someone who was head over heels for it right away. And I was able to, I forgave all the bugs, or so many bugs at the beginning. I remember there being weird character moments, and Garrett would all of a sudden like appear really high in the air and then fall and die. Like I had all kinds of weird stuff happen in that game, but it never made me like it any less because I was enjoying the game so much. But
and then
it's so much
the
better.
other thing I was going to say is I think it's important to understand that when The Witcher 3 came out, and even I saw the one guy, just another idiot, making a dumb, stupid post about how CD Projekt Red isn't as good as we say they are. He was just doing the comparison of like Red Dead Redemption 2 and how it has no bugs and blah blah blah. And I'm going,
what? Yes, it does.
Well,
yeah, but it's not as broke. I can't admit it's not as broken as some of the things going on.
Rockstar has way more money than CD Projekt.
But it's not just that. It's also, you got to remember, there's a couple things here I'm going to go over, and hopefully I won't miss. First thing is The Witcher 3, Red Dead, all those, they were released on one platform. Okay, Red Dead actually had a couple, but The Witcher 3 came out on base PS4, base Xbox One, and PC. That's it. There was no other optimization, anything else they had to do. This game is being released on base consoles, Pro, X level up consoles, Series X, PS5, and PC. So if you don't think that does not impact optimization and cleaning up bugs and all this in a game, you're an idiot. Like, that's why for me, and they couldn't do it. I totally understand why they couldn't do it, because they announced this game 7 years ago. This game never needed to come out on PS4 and Xbox One.
No,
it needed to be PS5, Xbox Series X, PC, and at minimum Xbox One X and PS4 Pro. But honestly, that should have been shafted too.
But if they did that, they wouldn't have been able to not have it on the base ones.
Well,
but
considering how long it took for the game to be made, they couldn't take that into account. They didn't know all the way back then when the next gen was going to start.
This game was supposed to launch before Series X and all that was out, so I understand why they didn't do that. Plus, again, they're trying to sell a video game. You don't want to eliminate a base console that has over 150 million sold units. So you don't want to cut that off. So the point is optimization is a little bit more tricky. Plus, the other thing I wanted to bring up is the actual game. I just explained to you in the beginning that if you choose, there's 3 different paths that you can start out with. They're not identical. They're different. So even if somebody says, I beat this game in 25 hours, well, you beat playthrough number 1 in 25 hours. Yes, it's going to be similar to playthrough number 2 and 3, but there are significant differences with each character you choose. So it is a new experience. There's a lot of differences, whereas a lot of the games people are comparing it to, Red Dead is a single story. There is no choices that dictate, and maybe you see different cutscenes. There is no RPG really, besides like you can upgrade your gun a little bit and stuff like that, clean it up. But they're completely different games in what they're trying to do here. Totally. So I hate when the internet does these comparisons to everything, and they do know, and you've heard me say this before, there's no critical thinking. There's nothing beyond, well, Red Dead's a big game. Okay, cool. But there's more to it than that.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Again, as I would agree with Dan, as he just said, hey, Red Dead, Rockstar, tad bit bigger than CD Projekt Red.
Way bigger
CD
budget.
Projekt Red has gotten bigger, but they are not the size of a Rockstar. They are not the size of an EA. They're not these big publishers that can take on a big, this is to me a huge RPG, take on a big RPG, open world RPG, and they have, this 18 studios working on this one game. Like, they don't have that. So there's a lot to go on. There's a lot of variables. I think so far, like I said, PC-wise, I'm not running into any bugs or any issues. I'm only an hour in on Xbox Series X, so I'm sure I would run into them there. So it's not perfect, but I think as time goes on, you're gonna see it getting cleaned up. Like you're gonna see the bugs get
100%.
fixed. You're gonna see animations get fixed. You're gonna see graphics get better. You're gonna see optimization. I think even on PC and console get better. That's what I love about them. And for those who are like, well, why didn't they wait? Suck it, dude. You're the one that was whining about them delaying it for 3 weeks. Like
you
that's
bought
the
it
shit
anyways,
that pisses
guy.
me off.
You bought
like
it.
They whine about these delays, but then when the game comes out and it's not perfect, why didn't they wait a year? Because you would have cried like a little baby. Like they still released a quality game. We're also forgetting that this is I haven't looked recently, but last time I checked, Metacritic was 91.
Yeah.
A lot of people are online are talking about this game like it's a 70, like it's a disappointment.
Well, so here's the hyperbole, right?
Well, and you know, even Fab in our group, people making excuses. This game's getting overlooked for. No, again, it's taking into consideration that you're taking the bugs, and then you're going, how much is it impacting my gameplay and enjoyment? If it's minimum, then you don't knock the game. If it's more than minimum, then yeah, you have to knock the game.
Let's see, what I've seen is very consistent. I've watched a lot of video reviews. I've watched and I've read a bunch of takes on it, folks who have actually played it. I've only seen a few that have said this game is so riddled with problems on especially the console versions that, you know, I find it to be unplayable. So I've seen a few of those and I empathize with those people. That sucks. Most of the
Callie Plague though?
No, most of the things that I've seen are, especially the ones that are really bashing it, are folks who aren't even really playing it. Either they've skipped it, they already don't like The Witcher, so they won't like this one, and they just love basking in the lack of success of something that they don't really love.
Oh, of course.
That's most of what it is. And everyone else that's talking about bugs is pretty much just saying, yeah, no, it's got some open world bugs, but it's not killing my experience. Which is what I said. I would say that about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's got a good amount of bugs that I run into, but none of them are gameplay breaking. They just kind of make me chuckle. And I actually just pretend like they're part of the animus, and who cares? It's not really messing with me. Like the boat loading up 20 feet above the water doesn't ruin the game for me. Yeah. Or having a deer that's all of a sudden like up in a tree. Like, why is it up there? Like, well, who cares?
I mean, I'm like anybody else. I want things to be better, but when you're looking at, and I'll say it for Assassin's Creed Valhalla too, these are huge open world games with a ton of systems, ton of choices. It's not like it's some linear story where they can control everything around.
I was going to say they can't make sure. I don't think they can account for every possible outcome.
Exactly. We're talking about multiple thousands and thousands of variables that could cause something weird or odd to happen to you.
Dan, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say a funny glitch that I saw. But I mean, that's why they have these consoles now even set up to be like when the system crashes, like it's like, hey, do you want to let the developer know? Like it sends like or a video clip. You can even send a video clip like, hey, this is what happened when it crashed. Like,
that's in Cyberpunk. They have that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying the consoles.
It's built into the system.
Yeah.
It's got it.
Like like when my PlayStation 5, the PlayStation 4 did it too. When a game did crash. The error message would pop up, and then it would be like, hey, send, kind of like pinging them like, hey, heads up, like I had a crash here, and you can even attach a video clip to it. So like, because again, they can't take into account all of these situations. It's just like because they build the games and there's the AI kind of doing certain things, and certain characters will bump into certain other, you'll bump into a certain character at one moment versus like your friend bumping into them somewhere else, like
absolutely.
But your buddy in Cyberpunk, when I was on that mission that Derek was talking about, he didn't want to spoil, he walked through a locker, like right through it, but like there was like I guess like just a bunch of paper in there. So like when he walked through it, like all the paper just like very aggressively like shot out of the locker, and like it was just like floating it actually looked super cool, and it was super funny. But yeah, bugs are kind of sometimes just funny, to be honest.
Well, so I'll mention one more thing about this, just from an outsider's perspective, since I haven't experienced this game specifically yet, and then we'll move on to the next topic here. But I do think the more that open world games are trying to add to their world, the more it's like Derek just mentioned the word variable. That's exactly what it is. You're adding more variables that can create some kind of chaos in your system you've built. So if you look at something like Breath of the Wild, which is amazing. I love that game. It was my favorite game of 2017. Love it. But that game really doesn't have a ton going on in the open world. Like while you're exploring, there's not hundreds of different characters and creatures and animals and water and all these and wind and weather. It doesn't have all that stuff all going on at once that could cause chaos no matter where you turn. Then something like Assassin's Creed, you've got everything from there's even like little pods of fish in the water because you could go fishing anywhere you want to go. There's new sections that are loading up with more fish and with more game in the woods and with more enemies on the roads. Like it's constantly spawning new creatures or characters within whatever that radius is that they've programmed to say wherever you are, you want to make sure that everything's loaded in around you. That is unbelievably taxing, I would imagine, on any system to ask it to do that. And so something like Cyberpunk is trying to do a ton. Something like Witcher 3, I think, was trying to do some, but it could spread it out more. I think in a game that's more wide open, you can spread it out more. And if you look at something like Ghost of Tsushima, one of the reasons why I only hit a small handful of bugs in my whole time with that game, just a few little hiccups here and there, nothing crazy. And it was usually graphical or maybe a character loading in a weird spot. It wasn't anything crazy in that game.
Yeah.
But that game doesn't have a lot in the world either. It doesn't have a lot happening all at once, is what I'm saying.
Right.
You're not constantly.
It's like pockets of like certain things happening.
Exactly. It's like these little events will load up, which I think is very smart, by the way. I think it's a smart way to do it because that allows your game to stay clean of a lot of those bugs.
Well, isn't that how they try to design it? It's almost like they're hiding the stuff so you don't see it. Yep. And then as you approach a certain area, then it starts to load that stuff in. Yep. So it's like it's not just like literally everything is just like in a place and it's like an actual real world where everything's just moving around at the same time. Like
correct.
So
but that's the criticism that some folks, and I disagree with them, but some folks have for Ghost of Tsushima is it feels very segmented like that. Like some people saw that as too obvious as they're playing it. I didn't. I thought it was fine. But anyway, all that to say, I'm not going to forgive any game, no matter who makes it, if the game is awful and unplayable. But that doesn't sound like that's the case with this one.
No.
So
I've only had one crash. So, and to be fair, I've only played about 3-4 hours. I've literally only had one crash. So
okay, all right.
But
and that's probably your PS5's fault because Sony's the worst.
Yeah.
All right.
Obviously.
All right, the only other game that I'm playing also includes Keanu Reeves. We didn't even talk about Keanu Reeves yet, although I do know he's a huge character in Cyberpunk. But I'm playing a game that features one of his biggest characters. I'm not playing a game that includes him. He's not in this game, but his likeness is his likeness is in there, and that's John Wick Hex, which is a spin-off from the John Wick movie series, of course. It introduces a new villain, but also includes a whole bunch of characters that you would recognize if you watch the movies. And there's this whole setup where they're talking with each other and they're telling a story about what, kind of like what did John Wick do next kind of a thing. And then it will cut to the level where you control him. So the game plays like a very time-based strategy game. So you go into an area, and of course it's called Hex because the new villain's name is Hex, but also the game is kind of run on a hex-based system. So you have all these dots all over the level. And you can choose to move, and each one costs you have a bar at the top that is essentially a few seconds, and it's constantly moving. And so every movement will take like a half second, or if you're going to squat and then roll, that's going to take you like a second and a half or whatever. So it's like the cost of time. Everything that you do costs you time. Reloading a gun or wrapping up a wound. All those.
Is it almost like what is it? Valkyria? What the hell is that?
It's Valkyria Chronicles 4.
Yeah, Valkyria Chronicles like that.
I played 4 for quite a while. Yes, it's got some elements of that. It's got a little bit every once in a while. I got a little bit of vibe from that SteamWorld Heist game where you kind of have to plan your shots, but it's not turn-based like that, so it's not quite that. But it's an interesting combination between action and then also strategy because of all the time stuff. So you'll see an enemy, everything. It's all about time freezes, and you decide what to do. Do you want to take a shot? What's your percentage of hitting that person? Is it going to hurt them enough? Are they going to shoot you first? You can see at the top, they'll get a shot off first, so you might want to just duck or move behind a pillar or something like that. So it's pretty fun. It's not very fast-paced until you really get into a groove of it. You can start to speed it up a little bit, but it's meant to be strategy. It's not meant to be fast-paced action.
That's why I like some of these newer strategy games, because like Final Fantasy Tactics, obviously a fantastic game, but it's of the old style of strategy games, right? So you have this grid-based movement system.
Correct.
And that worked at the time, and like you could still play it and enjoy it now. But I think if you want to evolve that particular genre strategy, like doing something like a Valkyria Chronicles, like I super love that system, because like you have the different classes of soldiers that can move various distances, and it has like that meter that shows you, some of them can go super far. The ones that are kind of bulkier dudes with that spear thing can't move very far, but they're stronger. They do like pretty heavy attacks. So I think stuff like that is,
but it's not trapped on a grid, right? You can kind of move.
Right, yeah, you just freely roam, which is really cool, because there are moments where you want to take cover, because depending on certain enemies, if you're not taking cover, like if there's a tank on the battlefield and you're just exposed, like that character is probably going to die in one hit. So like that's where the strategy element comes in too. So
well, I think if that sounds interesting to folks, basically it's all about sight lines and managing your time. Like how long does it take me to do a move? And if that sounds interesting to you, give it a shot. It's not a game with tons of, there are a few little upgrade things you can do, I believe, but it's mostly a game about just figuring out the level. So yeah, very strategic, very time-based, and it's all about sight lines. Can you see the enemy? Can they see you? And that kind of thing. So it's fun. It's cool. But that's all that I'm playing, and I think Cyberpunk is the main thing for us to talk about for what you guys are playing too. And for the rest of our time, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I do want to talk about the Game Awards, which just aired this past week. I got to be 100% honest. I had no time, and by the time it had started, at that point, no interest in watching the whole thing. And it's not because I didn't want to see the reveals or see who won. I did want to find out all that stuff. I was just having a pretty crazy week, both with work and with family stuff. And I'll tell you, it is surprisingly discombobulating is the best word I can think of, when you're totally removed from your normal room. Like our bedroom is where my office is. That's kind of like my sanctuary. I can go there during the day for quiet during work time. I can go there in the evenings. That's my place. I don't have that right now. So right now I'm set up right in the middle of all the chaos. And so, so by the time the Game Awards started, chaos was just picking back up to a full tilt. And so I didn't have a chance to watch it. But I have watched a bunch of the trailers that have been revealed. And I took a look at a few of the winners. I haven't seen all the winners. We'll look through those. In general, did you guys watch this, number one? And in general, did you like it? The Game Awards?
I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch any of it?
No, I'm a busy man nowadays.
Did you watch any of the trailers, Derek? Did you see you saw some of the BioWare teasers, right? So we can talk about that.
Yeah, I saw Dragon Age 4, and I watched Mass Effect, and I watched, Back 4 Blood?
Yeah, the Left 4 Dead kind of.
I have a lot of seething rage inside of me to spill out about that BioWare stuff.
Yeah, let's start with that. So that was a big thing going into the Game Awards, was BioWare is going to show footage. I think the term they used was we're going to show footage from the new Dragon Age game, right?
Yeah. Or they said they were going to show the newest look or something, like kind of still vague, but not.
I think it was a term like you're going to see video of the new Dragon Age. They didn't say gameplay, and they were smart about the terminology. But as a non-Dragon Age mega fan like you guys are, I watched it and thought, all right, that was nothing, but okay. And honestly, I thought the same thing about the Mass Effect tease too, to be totally honest with you. But I thought BioWare really didn't do much to get me excited about either of these franchises. But I'm curious, Dan, what do you think?
Well, let me just get my rage out of the way, because
do it.
So all right, so recently BioWare was in the news, the gaming news, because Casey Hudson, and then I can't remember the other dude's name. I'm sorry.
He's the main Dragon Age guy.
Yeah, the main Dragon Age guy. They left BioWare. Two very important figures.
His name is John Dragon Age.
Yes, exactly. Johnny Dragon. He's also in Yakuza. But they're very important people that left the company. So however you want to spin it, however you want to discuss it, whether that's good or bad, I think a lot of people are concerned. I would say for the most part. I think most BioWare fans are concerned right now. So with those fans being concerned and sort of in a negative headspace, I don't think it's appropriate to show two teasers that barely showed anything. Like, it gave some information, but like we already knew that one character was going to be the next Dragon Age. We knew that. I'm pretty sure he spoke some lines in that first teaser they showed. And I'm trying not to say his name just for spoiler reasons. So like we already knew that, so that's not like shocking. They didn't show gameplay. We don't know what the worlds really look. I mean, if those visuals that they showed in that teaser are pretty on par with what the game will look like, it'll look nice. That's great. But like they didn't show freaking gameplay. And then Mass Effect, we already knew a new Mass Effect was coming. I'm pretty sure they just actually straight up said like recently, didn't they? Didn't they do like a press release where like, yeah, we're making another Mass Effect?
I gotta say that I feel like a few people I've seen respond about the Mass Effect trailer kind of missed the point of Mass Effect is coming. They were like, yeah, a Mass Effect game's coming. I already know that. That's not what they're talking about. They're clearly hyping you on the fact that Liara is looking for Shepard.
That's fine.
Mass Effect is coming, meaning like the original trilogy is coming back.
That's fine.
That's what they're hyping.
But I'm sick and tired of people just teasing me on stuff. Just show me some godforsaken gameplay.
Yeah, but
if you don't have gameplay, then don't show me anything.
Okay, gameplay, I get it, but this game's probably far, far away.
No, that's fine, but like.
But I'm excited that they were hyped, like they were giving Mass Effect fans what they wanted.
But let me give you a.
Most of them, it was over their damn head.
Let me give you a hypothetical.
None of them were like, was that Liara?
But let me give you a hypothetical.
Yeah, it's Liara, you moron. She's looking for Shepard.
But let me give you a hypothetical. Imagine 2 years from now they actually do have some sort of gameplay, right? And they showed something with Liara, however you pronounce her name, that trailer, and then like going into like actual combat or something. Like, wouldn't have that been way cooler instead of just the like 30-second thing that you saw?
Oh, okay. Well, you're asking an obvious answer. Yes,
yeah,
it'd be way
exactly.
cooler with games.
So I'm sick and tired of companies making these stupid trailers that tell me nothing.
You're saying 2 years from now. I'm saying this is pretty cool because they're confirming basically that Shepard or that time period is coming back. That is, I believe, what they were counting on to hype people.
Okay.
And like I said, again, I can't speak for all of the internet, but I saw a good amount of people commenting saying, yeah, we know Mass Effect is coming back. And it's like, oh my God, you missed the entire point. Like, they didn't like spell it out for you, but they were like, Liara picking up N7 armor, that's Shepard. Like, that's what they're hinting at. So I thought that was cool, like, to just have a little like hype piece. As far as Dragon Age goes, I personally liked it. Of course, yes, I'd love gameplay and so on. But I actually thought there was a couple portions where they were showing like scenery, like the places that I guess you're gonna be, and I was,
and that's fine.
This doesn't look like Dragon Age at all. Like, this is very unique. Like, this looks totally different. So I liked that. I liked getting a little peek into what they're doing with these two games. But yeah, overall, like, I'm, I guess, a little more excited than most people, but I thought it was pretty cool.
For me, I'm just, and it doesn't
matter. Well,
I
know where you stand. If it's not gameplay and a release date, you're pissed.
Well, I think you were saying something else, Dan, besides gameplay. What else were you saying?
Well, it's just for the shareholders, right? Because it's the bottom line is like, at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, people are going to want gameplay. Otherwise, I don't care. Go away. I don't want to see your dumb teasers, because the bottom line is you're not showing me what the game actually looks like. And even when you do, then years later, right, when the game starts to come out, you have all these cynical people be like, oh, look at what it looked like when you first showed it, but then look at it now. Like with Watch Dogs, the original Watch Dogs, that trailer was amazing, and it was gameplay. And then the game came out, and there was side-by-side, screen grabs, so on and so forth, and the original footage looked way better, and then the game came out, I was like, why does it look like garbage? So like, then you have those situations. It's like, just stop showing me teasers. I don't care. Just, you're making the game, that's awesome, I'm excited. Just wait until you actually have some gameplay, even if it's a short snippet. Like, I just want to see what the game is going to look like, like more or less in its finalized state. When they announced Fallout 4, that was amazing. Now the game didn't turn out as I wasn't as into it as I was with like Fallout 3.
Like the 6-month announcement game.
Yes, like it was like people pretty much assumed it was coming, but like when it actually happened, like when when they announced it, and then it was that 6-month window. That was freaking awesome. That was so
But
exciting.
I think there is a difference here between what you're saying, Dan, and Derek. I'm agreeing with what you're saying, that it's okay to be hyped by this kind of thing. And here's why. Again, outside looking in, I am only a casual Mass Effect fan, and I never got into the Dragon Age series. Maybe those things will change, but
apparently not. You're a complete loser, but go on.
Neither.
Well, you've played the best Dragon Age, Tim. Star Wars Fallen Order, right?
I did. You're right. Neither one of these teasers did anything for me. Now, they looked cool, and I totally picked up on the thing with Liara and Shepard because I'm aware of how everything went with the original trilogy. But that did nothing for me. This is what that made me think. I wonder if this game will come out during this gen of consoles, because this is clearly nowhere close. So I'm okay with getting excited about a story or so-and-so is back in a series, that kind of thing. But if you do it this far out, that's where I feel like that would have been, I think, Dan, this is your point, drop that like within a year of the game coming out, some major reveal about a character in the game and the direction it's going. That being said, Bioware has not been in the best graces with all of its fans in recent years. So for them to let us know that they are trying to recalibrate and focus on the two franchises we like the most, that is a smart move. So I kind of see both ways. On the one hand, it's like it doesn't do much for me, the storyline dropping that,
It depends on how somebody registers that, right? Because you're saying, I get what you're saying, and that does make sense. But like, so I'm a Dragon Age fan. I was not satisfied whatsoever.
Yeah, right.
Like that's the thing, because like, great. So you're trying to recalibrate. That's fine, but I want to see the game. Yeah, like I already know this existed. You already showed me a teaser. Like I don't need a second teaser. Stop teasing me, damn it! Just give me the goods. Let me touch your goods.
Dan doesn't like to be teased, all right?
No.
So everyone take note. He does not like to be teased. Absolutely. So those were two of the bigger name, of course, IPs that were dropped. But I want to talk about a few of the other trailers and reveals that were shown. And I was able to watch most of these, to catch up on most of these. Near Replicant, which was, I think, revealed before the awards, but it's, close enough. This looks really cool. And I happened to read something right before we started recording, and I don't know if this is true, but they're made by the same folks. Someone said this picks up right after the end of Drakengard. Are those two series connected?
Yeah.
Is it?
I didn't know that, but now I want to read all about it. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
I know that this is it's a remake, but like completely fleshing it out even more of the first Nier, I believe.
Dude, I did not know those games were connected. Now I'm super.
But I didn't know Drakengard. Yeah.
Gameplay looks like a lot of fun. Looks like it's going to be, crazy, action-packed, violent, all that good stuff. It comes out April 23rd on last-gen consoles, basically. PS4, Xbox One, but then PC as well. That looks good. Super Smash Bros. Revealed a character. Which character was this?
It's, hold on. Well, let me see if I can get this. Hold on. No? It's not damn it.
Hang on. I'll come back to it. There's going to be a new map for Among Us called The Airship coming out in 2021. Oh, there it was.
I hope that comes.
So there was a pretty cool trailer there for Smash Brothers, revealing that Sephiroth is on the way to that game. It was cool. There was some epic moments there. There it is.
Sorry about that.
There it is. There is a classic image, which is behind Dan's head right now. That they already introduced, and that was during all the craziness in the battling. All of a sudden, the Sephiroth, there's like a silhouette of what looks to be Sephiroth having Mario impaled on his giant sword.
It's actually going through the strap of his.
And then when it kind of changes camera angle, Mario looks down, and it's the sword is holding him up by his overall strap. Yeah, and then Cloud comes in to save the day. But anyway, that's cool. I mean,
that was pretty much the highlight for me, Tim. Everything after that. Yeah. And that was the beginning. That was literally the first thing.
I'm sorry this is going to trigger some people, but I just wish Smash Brothers were a game that I cared about or enjoyed playing. But
yeah, I don't care about it.
It's cool that they add all these characters, and I always think it's fun, but I'm never that into it. But anyway, you Left 4 Dead fans, you've got essentially a clone of your game that looks like coming out in Back 4 Blood, this multiplayer zombie game. That looks wacky and zany and crazy, just like Left 4 Dead.
I've never played Left 4 Dead. I am very excited to try this because I've always heard great things about Left 4 Dead. So now I get to, play something.
It was a fun party game, like playing with friends.
Yeah, we need to get a fourth person, and then the four of us murder some zombies.
Yeah, it did look. That was a cool trailer for that one. I liked that. I don't think we saw what the game itself looks like in action. It was just a cinematic trailer.
No,
but I would
they did.
assume this is. Did they show first-person shooting and that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you were actually watching the award show, they showed that trailer, which is probably the one that you saw, and then somebody came on. I forget. Probably.
So it's first-person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. Then they showed. They teased this game called the Callisto Protocol, which at first I thought, is this a new Dead Space game? Because it has a lot of Dead Space vibes, a little bit of Alien vibe to it. It basically starts in what looks like this outer space jail cell, and this crazy stuff is happening. This guy gets out of his bed, goes to the cell to see what's going on, and then it looks like his bunkmate has turned into this horrible monster that, all these tentacles come out of his mouth and destroy him. It just looks real creepy, real atmospheric. Coming out in 2022.
So Tim, can I get you real excited and then just completely destroy your excitement?
Yeah, do it.
So it is from the creator of Dead Space.
There you go.
And then, what I read afterwards, I don't even want to believe it, to be honest with you, but apparently it is legit. It's within the PUBG universe, apparently.
Why? What is wrong with
What does that even mean?
PUBG
universe?
Oh my gosh.
Like, what does that mean?
By the way, we paused this conversation to tell you that our episode is brought to you by Jones Cane Sugar Soda.
Hey. What flavor?
This is the cream soda.
Okay. I like the apple one. I like the sour apple one.
It's all very good.
Yes.
Not a sponsor, but I do like it.
But we will accept money.
But we would accept soda or money. Then they showed this game. I shouldn't say then because this is not in order. I apologize. Endless Dungeon was revealed. This Diablo-style combat, but sci-fi with, I thought, pretty cool animation in there. It's a Sega-published game, and it kind of looks like one of those games where, because there was a cool song at the beginning. This girl singing, and then these people go out and battle. It's just got a cool style to it. And then it looks like you do lots of loot, some upgrading, and then your character respawns and you go at it again. So a little roguelite. Sort of looks like some multiplayer in there. I thought it looked good. I wasn't expecting this, but I think it looks cool. It's the Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. Yay. So if you ever played the old Ghosts and Goblins game, that game was notoriously difficult. And I think the new art style looks really good. I think it looks really pretty, like this kind of cartoon, a little bit Dragon's Lair cartoon style. Mm-hmm. And I think it looks like a lot of fun. I think it's right now, I think it's just coming to Switch, but it might be everywhere, and that's February 25th. So that'll be good. This one got me real pumped when I saw what it was at the end, because at first watching the cinematic of this game, looks like it's in first person. It looks like it's cinematic, but they're trying to show you that it's going to be first person perspective, probably. It's futuristic, stuff's on fire, you're running, jumping, fighting, and then you hear someone say they address the character as Dark. And then it pulls back and you see this Joanna Dark. And it's like, oh, they're rebooting Perfect Dark. And I saw that confirmed elsewhere that it's not a continuation of the story. It's a reboot.
Oh, so it's a reboot? Okay.
I've heard it's a reboot of the franchise.
So I actually really
that franchise needs a reboot.
Yeah, agreed.
I actually really liked that announcement. Like, obviously, that's pretty much an Xbox Series now.
It is. It's actually by the Initiative, which is one of the newer studios, but it's a Microsoft published game. Yeah.
Like, I actually super like that because, like, I just would not have thought Perfect Dark at all as I'm watching that trailer, and then at the end I'm like, oh snap.
Yeah, it looks really pretty. So if they go, I hope they stick with that style. I think it's really nice. Looks really good. And then I thought for a moment Platinum Games is bringing back what was that dragon game that was canceled? I don't remember. The dude with the headphones? Yeah, the headphones dude. So I thought they were bringing that back, but no, but it is another dragon riding game called Century, and it kind of has that kind of air battle dogfighting style where you're flying around on your dragon trying to shoot down other enemies and stuff like that. Comes out February 21st. I think there's a beta right now if you want to go give it a try. Called Century. Shady Part of Me looks like a really creative, like visually incredibly creative game. It kind of had a fabric look to a lot of the characters and a lot of the surfaces, but also all hand drawn and animated. Just looked really pretty. And the idea is it's this girl and her shadow, and it looks like she's trying to either control it or the shadow trying to control her. Basically, her shadow seems to have a different personality than her. And so, anyway, it looks like a very creative, visually at least, creative game.
Right up Derek's alley, obviously.
It's out now on all platforms.
Oh, there you go, Derek.
This game called Chia. As soon as I saw this game called Chia, the first thing that came to mind was, oh, another Breath of the Wild clone, but this one's the Moana edition, because you're essentially on this Pacific Island looking place, but she jumps and has a thing to hold above her head to help her glide. She can climb up any surface, but it doesn't look like there's much in terms of combat. It looks like a pretty relaxed exploration game. Open roads kind of gave me a Don't Nod or Telltale Games vibe.
Yeah.
But with a different animation style. But looks like a story-based game there. Evil Dead, the game. Listen, it was funny. I was actually starting, as I'm watching this trailer, I'm just typing out my thoughts. And I erased this, but I had first wrote, oh, looks like a pretty standard cabin horror movie. Reminds me of Evil Dead. And then all of a sudden, Ash comes out.
Oh!
I was like, oh, there you go. It's Evil Dead. And it says something about, it took Linda. And I was like, oh, it is Evil Dead.
Yeah.
So it's Evil Dead, the game. It just looks like a real action-packed multiplayer in the woods game. Yeah. I don't know. Not sure if it's going to be good or not, but there you go. There's some Evil Dead for you.
That's fun.
I'll come back to this next one last because it was, I think, one of the biggest reveals. Crimson Desert looks really cool, by the way.
That game equally was blowing my mind and also kind of making me laugh because, graphically, just, all the, hiccups it was having and, the frame rate and, interlacing issues, all sorts of stuff happening.
Yeah, it seemed like they were having technical difficulties. Although the video I watched, the trailer that I watched afterwards, ran pretty smoothly from what I could tell. But I did still see a little bit of that. But overall, the visuals, the look of it, whether or not it ran smoothly, the look of it I thought was gorgeous. It looked really pretty. And I kind of got Monster Hunter meets Assassin's Creed vibes from some of the characters and the battling and
destructible environments.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be an MMO, I think.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It looks really cool. So that one looks cool. Season, if you are just pining for some Shenmue style experiences, it looks like Season's right up your alley. Although I will admit the art style here looks cool. It looks like a full blown anime high quality film. Not like anime in the style of animated. I shouldn't say anime. It doesn't look anime, but anyway, it looks really, really good. Loop Hero, I'm not that interested in that one. It's another Devolver game. I don't think it looks that fun, but if you like old school games with deck building strategy, give that one a whirl. And then Evil West kind of looks, I don't know what the gameplay is going to be like, but the trailer was kind of cool. This cowboy comes walking out of a saloon, and it looks like it's going to be a Western. But then he all of a sudden has all kinds of technology on his arms and some kind of armor on.
He's steampunk a little bit.
Yeah, a little steampunk, right? Zombies are coming at him from all sides. Then he busts down through the floor and he's surrounded, so he smashes the floor with this big lightning attack. And I was like, oh, all right. I think it's like RIPD, the game or something. Yeah. But it's called Evil West. And looks kind of crazy, fun. I think that's by Focus. So I think that's the folks who did Greedfall, right? Isn't that Focus?
Oh, that would be Spider.
Oh, I thought Focus Home Interactive. I thought they were.
Well, they're the publisher.
Okay. They just published it. Okay, so it's being published by the same folks. Last one I want to mention that was talked about and announced is Arc 2.
I couldn't take this seriously, Tim. I just couldn't.
So I started this trailer, and at first it zooms in on this flower and shows this little girl with big hair, and I was like, oh, is this like another Horizon teaser?
Yeah.
Like I wasn't sure. I thought maybe we're going to see Aloy come in and help this little girl or something. But she's told by some man to go ahead and move it along. It looks like maybe her dad or something. I looked closer and I was like, is that Vin Diesel? Not only is that Vin Diesel, but is that Vin Diesel in a loincloth right now? He's got other armor and stuff on too, but that's who it is. And so it's a video game starring Vin Diesel, and he is not Riddick. So that's interesting. Or his Fast and Furious character.
It's a sequel to I don't think Ark is straight up an MMO, but it's MMO sort of like
it's
an
a
MMO,
survival,
right?
like Rust. It's that kind of thing where you can encounter others in your big survival open world where you're just trying to craft and survive.
But so I guess that whole thing was a CG trailer, right? It just the movement was super awkward during the fights, right?
It was bad. So this was not high quality.
No, not at all.
There were moments where I thought, oh, this was kind of cool, but then in general I kept going, nope, oh nope, oh no.
The fighting was so bad.
It was pretty bad. So basically the idea is it's back in looks like kind of caveman or at least like ancient times type days. And
it's like Horizon Zero Dawn mixed with Avatar.
And it is more like Horizon than I would have thought, because at the end of this whole trailer where they're fighting these kind of crazy alien-looking cavemen dudes, and then they fight against this big dinosaur that's chasing them. Then they go into a cave and they're using a computer, looking at his ID badge. So I'm like, what in the world is this? And then it says Arc 2. So I don't know, man. Whatever.
I mean, it was a funny trailer. It was fun.
It was hilarious. Apparently, you get to play as Vin Diesel. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're trying to give a story to Arc.
Well, so I mean, that's a bunch of Vin Diesels running around like.
I don't know.
Talking about family. It's all about family.
I'm not sure how that's going to work. All right, well, let's talk about the winners of the Game Awards, and then we'll wrap this thing up. I did think it was cool that the overall game picked by players for Players' Choice was Ghost of Tsushima. Apparently, it came down between that one and Last of Us 2. We're back and forth in the voting from what I heard. But Ghost took that award for favorite player choice game. But let's go through. We talked about this last time, too. What some of the nominees were, but let's go through the winners of the categories that Tim cares about. Sure. So feel free to throw in there if you want me to talk about best esports coach. I can do that, but I'm skipping that for now.
Sure.
Sorry, Derek. I know you're a big esports fan.
Oh yeah.
All right. So best debut game. So this means that it's a debut game created by a new independent studio. It was either Carrion, Mortal Shell, Raji, Roki, or Phasmophobia, and Phasmophobia won.
Oh, there you go.
I know that's a really popular one for streaming, because
especially around Halloween. This past Halloween, a lot of people were playing it.
Yeah, for sure. We'll skip content creator because who cares? All right, best multiplayer went to Among Us, which is funny because that game came out I think 2 years ago.
Yeah. Hey, well deserved though. Like
it is.
They seemed super humble. Like it was just it was nice.
Yep, good for them. Their game is now so successful they just canceled the sequel. They're like, we don't need that. We just need to keep this one. Best sports game went to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. So they don't follow our remake rules, everybody. Best sim strategy game, and this is so weird because 4 of these nominees are actually strategy games, and one of them is actually just a simulator. And the winner was the one simulator game, and that's Microsoft Flight Simulator. And so I feel like they should have had a separate strategies. How do you decide which is a better sim or strategy, Gears Tactics or Microsoft Flight Simulator? It's like those are so different from each other. I don't know how you pick, but
I mean,
whatever. It is a good game. It's an amazing technological feat. We've talked about that on the show before. Best family game went to Animal Crossing, beating out contestants like Crash Bandicoot, which I would have picked, or Minecraft Dungeons, Paper Mario, that kind of stuff.
Poor Gaston.
Poor Gaston. I'm with you, Gaston. I would have picked Crash for the best family game out of those nominees.
Our condolences.
Yet another old game wins the category here. Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate wins best fighting game.
Hey,
that's right, folks. No, hang on. I just want everyone to know the best fighting game in 2020 is a game that wasn't released in 2020. Awesome. All right.
Ultimate Edition, Tim.
Okay, sure. It's the 2020 edition. Next year is the 2021 edition. Can't wait. Best role-playing game, Daniel.
Final Fantasy. I don't actually. 7. Was it 7?
Yeah.
No? Okay. I must have missed. I must have actually missed that one.
Beating out games like Genshin Impact, Persona 5 Royal, Wasteland 3, and Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Obviously.
So there you go. Best action adventure game went to The Last of Us Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting one because I think of if I'm ranking it based on action adventure, I'm gonna go based on which game has the best combination of action and feeling like you're on an adventure, and I would pick most of these games over that. Although I haven't played Spider-Man yet, but Ori, Star Wars, Ghost of Tsushima, and Assassin's Creed, I would consider them all potentially, at least in the action adventure genre, better experiences than as much as I loved Last of Us Part 2. I don't think of that as like, what a great action and adventure experience, but whatever.
It's an emotional adventure, Tim.
It really is. That's where I think it shines. Best action game went to Hades, beating out things like Doom Eternal, Neo 2, and Streets of Rage, and Half-Life Alyx. Innovation and accessibility. I don't know what that even means. Does that mean you have good accessibility options for things like color blindness and all that stuff?
Yeah, colorblind handicaps, things like that.
Reading the menu. Last of Us Part 2 won that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of accessibility options in that game. So
Best VR or AR experience went to Half-Life Alyx, which is not a surprise at all. That game has been completely critically acclaimed. There's like no one who dislikes it that's played it. All right, best mobile game went to Among Us, another game that didn't come out this year. Best indie game was between Carrion, Fall Guys, Spelunky 2, Spiritfarer, or the winner was Hades. No surprises in most of these, I don't think. Best ongoing game went to No Man's Sky. Hey, I got to give them props. Hello Games has taken a game that was completely trashed, and for a lot of good reasons, in 2016. And it is, in my opinion, a really fun and remarkable experience now, if you play it now. I've downloaded it on PC and played it, and it's just really pretty and fun, and I like it a lot more now. It's still not for everybody. It's still a game that some people find very boring, but I think it's gorgeous. There's tons of systems in there, and there's tons of stuff to explore. I just think it's really cool.
Did you see the snippet of Sean Murray accepting the?
I didn't.
The award.
No.
So he literally, as Keeley or whoever it was saying, No Man's Sky. Sean Murray was taking like a sip of beer. And then he like quickly like put it down. It was kind of catching it. He's kind of like wiping it. He's like, oh yeah, okay, sure.
So he wasn't expecting it, huh?
Probably not. He's probably like, oh, everyone kept busting our balls about this game.
He was probably expecting either Warzone or Fortnite to win that one. Yeah. Best games for Impact went to Tell Me Why.
Tell me why.
Yeah, I'd like for them to tell me why.
Best performance. This is an interesting one because there's a lot of good performances in games this year, but that went to Laura Bailey as Abby for Last of Us Part 2. I think if nothing else, they gave that to her because of all the harassment she received after that game.
Well, she actually mentioned that in her speech. She's like, oh, people are very passionate about how they feel about Abby. So.
Dude, both she and Ashley Johnson were so good. Yeah. So good. All right, best audio design also went to Last of Us Part 2. I'm looking at the other people. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
there's some cool sounds in there. Best score and music, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I mean, obviously. That literally would have been a crime if it didn't go to Final Fantasy VII.
It's gorgeous music. I love the remake. And that's
it's literally a crime.
The fact that, to me, I see that and I think that's the right pick. That tells you how much I admire that, because games like Ori and Last of Us Part 2 and even Doom, they all had just amazing music.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Best art direction went to Ghost of Tsushima, and I think that's well deserved. Okay, Hades is gorgeous, Final Fantasy VII, Last of Us Part 2, Ori, those are all really pretty games and they have good art direction. But Ghost was able to somehow make a game run on a base PS4, which I run here in my living room, and it looked like a next gen game. The art was the art style and the design was so beautifully done. I couldn't believe this was running on a console that I bought I think I bought it in 2014, I want to say. Looks amazing.
I don't do the whole like photo modes in games like ever. But I mean, how many did like I take and just a bunch of us take for that game? Like, that game is gorgeous.
Yeah, I think that was a great pick.
Yeah,
that game is really pretty. Best narrative went to Last of Us Part 2. The only one there that you haven't heard me list as a nominee was 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, which, by the way, I was looking that up. I didn't realize that's a PS4 exclusive. I don't know why I thought that was elsewhere, but that's only on PS4.
Yep.
So I went to see how much it was. I thought about buying it in case Derek wanted to try it, but still full price at the moment. So I'm going to wait for a sale on that one.
I don't think Derek would like that game, to be honest.
You would try it and then tell me how much it's awful.
It's terrible.
Sure. See, he already told you.
Best game direction, which I got to be honest with you, we got to make sure we never award a game for best game direction if they've ever had crunch, okay? If they've ever asked their workers to work more than 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, they don't deserve recognition. Sorry, that was...
So I saw somebody on the internet say, because he made the post and then people rebutted against it, and of course some people agreed about the crunch and how they shouldn't have won this award because that, and his reasoning was that's just poor management. But come to find out, he's a night stock shelfer at Walmart, so he's definitely managed before. Yeah,
he knows what good management is.
Exactly.
He should read Michael
by the
Scott
way,
somehow.
You could get offended like, oh, how could you insult what he does? I don't have a problem with what he does as an employee. I have a problem when you've never worked in management and you think you know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. Shut up.
Yep.
I mean, the issue is nobody's read Michael Scott's Somehow I Manage. That's really the main issue.
I
If they
mean,
just read that
totally.
book. You know?
Michael
Also-
Scott's probably the best manager ever.
By the way, Derek,
Absolutely.
the dead giveaway that guy doesn't have management experience is the fact that he thought that somehow being a game director also involves managing your staff and their time at work. It might involve some of that, but it's not about that. It's about the direction of the game.
Yeah.
You're
It's all
overseeing the entire
stupid,
game.
man. There's like 20 billion tweets about how that game shouldn't have won Best Direction because of crunch. Like, you guys are all so dumb. I hate dumb.
Yep. Well, I predicted that Hades would win overall game of the year, and I picked that basically because I thought it's going to be hard for folks to pick between Ghost and Last of Us Part 2, because I figured that'd be what most critics come down to.
Mhm.
But I was wrong. Last of Us Part 2 took home the title
It
of
did.
this year's Game of the Year award. It took home a ton of awards.
I mean, obviously that's just nonsense. It should be Final Fantasy VII, but that's fine. Just saying. I mean,
No,
it's the
I'm
greatest
pretty
game
sure
of all time.
Last of Us 2 is gonna win my Game of the Year as well.
The
That's fine.
only
You're wrong too. So
The only nominee out of these 6 that I would have been perplexed and a little annoyed if it won was Animal Crossing. The other 5, I would have been totally fine with it winning. Like if Doom Eternal as a dark horse would have won, I would have been happy with that. Still a high quality game, even if it didn't hook me like the first one did. Final Fantasy VII, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Last of Us Part 2. I think all those would be worthy to be picked at an awards show like this. But Last of Us took it. It took pretty much everything. Stole everybody's lunch this year.
this
So
award show is a joke. What can I say?
that's what,
It's just a joke.
you knew that would be the result.
Yeah.
I'm actually a little surprised that Final Fantasy won for Best RPG. Not that I don't think it was, because I personally do. I just thought that Persona 5 Royal would have won. Since they nominated it, I assumed that one would have won.
Maybe a lot of people kind of thought with kind of like how we were arguing whether that would seem legitimate or not, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, it's very possible. It's just funny because it probably did come down to those two, and both of those, you can make an argument, already came out.
Well,
But if you played
actually,
Final Fantasy
Tim-
7 Remake, you know it's nothing like the first one.
actually, well, never mind. It's just spoilery. I can't do it. I just
Can't do it? All right. All right.
Spoilers. I can't do it.
I know you want to talk about how there's like a alternate whatever. We won't go there.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
We won't go there. All right. Well, that does it for our episode this week. Thank you guys for taking time to chat. Thank you guys for watching if you're on YouTube, or listening if you're listening to the podcast. And if you want to watch and you're just listening, feel free to check out YouTube version down in the episode notes. Or if you'd like to join our podcast, you can also check in the YouTube notes. You'll see the links to both in there. So that does it for this week. See ya.